So let's turn everything else off. Excuse me. And we'll just leave on the pillar wall. Turn off the floor. Need a material network. Underscore mat. Drop down a RS material. Call this marble. Drop down an RS texture. Plug him in. Jump to the marble folder. Marble megascans, floors marble. Grab the albedo. Into a redshift material. That is definitely not how you spell redshift. There you go. That's a bit better. And this will be our pillar walls out. Apply the material. P, there you go. Apply it. Let's get up the renderer. I think we'll use the look dev camera. Look dev, lock the camera so we can move around, and we'll position it somewhere like here. Hit render on that. We're currently subdividing it. I think we can turn that off for now, I think. Yeah, let's turn it off. Just to get the marble looking decent. Roughness. In you go. Cool. Looks flat to me. So what we can do is mess around with this roughness map. So RS change range. Let's increase the contrast. And remember, we don't want anything to look flat. So that includes lighting, shading, texturing. We always want a nice level of contrast. Let's plug this in. Bit of contrast there. There you go, something like that. Let's lift up those whites as well. Yeah, something around there. And we have no UVs for this asset, so triplanar. Copy them over, triplanar. Refresh the render. Gives us that. We'll also increase this blend amount because I'm noticing these seam lines. So increasing the blend amount just a touch should help fix that. Maybe go up to 1. There you go, and that line's gone. So I'll just show you the difference there to there. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. There you go, and we'll copy the scale so they're linked. I'll copy this over to Y and Z, so then we can just scale this one. So I think we'll do something like just want it to be a little bit bigger, the scale. Yeah, I think somewhere around there is fine. Let's plug this back in, see how we're looking. Just do a quick refresh. It's not looking too bad. Let's drop down an RS color correct. Just want to take some of that red out just a bit, maybe a little bit more. There you go, it's looking a little bit better. Drop the saturation. There you go, starting to feel more like marble. And I'd also like to add some contrast in this map because the details aren't standing out very much to me, so I'll drop the gamma a touch. That's going to add a little bit more contrast by itself. And we'll pull up on this slider here. Like that, we can see those details popping a little bit more. Drop it down, there you go. Starting to pull out some more details there. And when we're adding contrast, we're adding contrast to the blacks and the whites. We're also adding contrast to the saturation when we're sliding this. So let's drop that saturation right down again. Take some of that red out. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. Just going to drop those whites just a touch. It's going to make it a little bit shinier, so they're not so flat. And I think that's looking pretty cool. Yeah, it looks nice. Let's bring in that normal map now. Should be in the same folder. Yeah, marble, normal map. Plug him in. And copy the same triplanar. And I'm going to really boost up this to something like 10 just so we can see it. Just to bring out that nice detail. There you go. I think around 5 is fine for that. It's not super obvious, but I think it does its job. Okay, let's add some... I think we need to add a little bit of cracking. So we're going to use the same displacement map that we used on the plant pot. So let's go grab that. So I'm going to type plant pot. And when I'm doing this, I'm typing Control and F to bring up this fine node view. So we'll go table plant pot, jump inside, and we'll just grab this here. Copy it, back to the pillar, drop it in, just like that. There you go. See what that looks like. We need to turn on tessellation and displacement. I'm going to drop this down to about 4. And I'm always trying to get this number as low as possible, so I'm trying to get away with as much as I can. I really hate pushing the subdivisions up too high. Wait for that to render. Just going to do a save as well. I can feel a crash coming on. Okay, so we don't seem to be getting anything through there. It's a little bit weird. Let's try, there you go. Let's try increasing it to 0.2. See how we're looking. And you can see the startup time is already increased a fair amount. Okay, so we need to scale this so the details are larger. Just going to copy these, so we only have to do it on one channel. I'm going to do a hold down shift, left click to do like a region render. Turn this down to 2 for now. It's already quite subdivided, so yeah. Should be a little bit quicker. Jump back in, mess around with this. We'll do something like 0.2. I can't remember which way around it is, whether I need to go up or down. There you go, so it is down. And I actually think that's quite a nice scale there. I think that's working quite well. Yeah, that's looking cool. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That looks quite nice. Maybe a little bit too strong, but it's definitely adding a lot of detail. Next up is adding a little bit of dirt. So we'll do our usual. Drop down an RS curvature. Try and get this samples as low as possible. Let's plug this in. And remember, when using a curvature node with with displacement turned on, increases the render even more, because this curvature node is looking up the displacement and applying a curvature based on the displacement, which takes longer. So something to consider. Let's drop that down. Something around there, maybe like 4. 3. Strike and cave. Oh, I think that looks kind of cool. Just switching back to see which one is right. Yeah, I think that's actually where the dirt would collect. Yeah, let's try that. Drop down RS texture. And we will multiply in our grunge map again. We could pull this from one of the other material networks, but we'll just re-import it. There. RS change range. Plug him in there. Refresh the render. We're going to need to increase the contrast of this grunge map. And of course put in our triplanar, because we don't have UVs. Just refresh. Right, it's looking alright. Let's put this up to about 0.2, might disappear. Yeah, I think that's looking cool. Drop down another redshift material. RS material, this is our dirt. Something around that, that's fine. All the way up to 0.8. Maybe it's going a little bit too red there. Drop it down. So it's a bit darker. Yeah, that's fine, we can leave the rest. Into an RS material blender. Plug him in. There. Base color. Put this into an RS change range just in case if we need to do a tweak. And plug this into the surface. Smooth the displacement out just to make it a little bit more organized. There you go. Nice. Refresh the render. I'm not too happy with the startup time for that render, considering the fact it's only a pillar wall. So I'm going to drop the displacement down. It's too high. Let's increase the dirt amount to something like 5. See where we are with that. There you go. It's a little bit better. 15. Should start to see it in the crevices here. Why not add these two together? So we'll do convex as well. RS add those white values together from both of these curvatures. Refresh the render. Yeah, it's looking kind of cool. Although the only thing that's not right about this is maybe the amount of dirt that's getting added to these cracks, but I think it's certainly helping give some kind of extra surface detail. And I'm not sure if there is a toggle to prevent the curvature node from taking into consideration the displacement. That would be super handy, but I'm not sure if that option is available. I wonder if consider same. No. But I think overall that's looking pretty good. I think maybe we can just turn this down, maybe like 9. Just not push it so much. Let's just increase the samples. To something like 256. Just to clear out that noise and see where we are. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty cool. It's looking nice. It's got a really realistic feel about it. And I've also not added any subsurface scattering to any of the objects in my scene. Just saves on render time. What we need to do as well is turn on the little ornaments I placed in there. So I've got these little pillar wall ornaments. The geometry count is quite high, so I ended up proxying them out, but we're just going to render them. We'll apply the same material here. And make sure that you don't have tessellation enabled, because it's pretty dense geometry already, so we don't need displacement on either. Take a snapshot, re-render, see where we're at. I've turned the geometry in the viewport to hidden, so it makes it a little bit lighter in the scene. Yeah, so display as hidden. And there you go. So that's a nice bit of detail. Just sort of looking on this ledge and looking at the sky dome. And just seeing if I could... I'm almost sort of imagining if I could sit on it. Yeah, I think that's looking cool. I think that looks nice. Yeah, nice.